sometimes you gotta give people their flowers while they're here to receive them. You always gotta give people their flowers while they're here to receive them. So in essence, to change up today's program, what we have prepared for you is called the Living Museum. You know, Mama Ba is big on history and knowledge. But guess what? If you look around this room or this outside area, we are all a living museum. We all have a journey to tell. Because folks will try to bring us down and stifle our growth. But since 1995, look where we are now. So what I want to do to start off the program is, if you joined the organization between 1995 and 2000, raise your hand. 2000 to 2010. 210 to 220. And 220 to today. And this is why it's important to do the Living Museum. For that reason, notice, if we don't take a moment to recognize the journey that we left, we will not have the inspiration to the journey that we gotta go. I was gonna say it again. I wasn't sure if anybody heard me, but clearly they, you know. So we gotta make sure we recognize that foundation to build upon. So today, in today's Living Museum, think about when you go to a museum. You visit exhibits. In those exhibits, there's a nugget of knowledge that's presented in those exhibits. We'll get ready for a plethora of knowledge, of living history. Because what I want us to do is realize these are the gems that we need to tap into. These are the stories that we got to take on for those people coming behind us. Because the boots don't change. They get bigger, better, and broader. So before I'm getting my first speaker prepared, how many of us have been a president of a chapter? Look at that. A pledge master of a chapter.
There we go.
Look at that. So again, if you need to know the history, the knowledge, the motivation, these are the folks that we can talk to. So it's my pleasure to start off the Living Museum with Legionnaire ONYX.
Good afternoon, everybody. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. One more time. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Very good. Thank you. As Elimination has stated, I am Legionnaire ONYX. I am currently the pledge master for the Midwest chapter, and I do have the distinction of saying that I am the longest. I have the longest stretch of uninterrupted membership in this entire organization, and people have told me that I need to lean into that. 26 years without a break from you bitches.
Right.
But done with love, done with love. I just want to say, first of all, I want to thank our brothers from Deep South for putting this all together, and especially thank you to Elimination and the folks there for asking me to do this. I really do appreciate it. I think it's easy to say that as a member, you know, you should always be a part of the mission and doing everything that's important to the forward motion of the organization. And some of us are content to stand in the bright background and make those things happen. And that's kind of been the person that I've always been. But I think my journey in ONYX has kind of allowed me to take the spotlight when necessary. So I can definitely say I'm grateful to the organization for that. So with that said, I'm going to share a little bit of information. Okay, my voice doesn't carry, so please indulge me. Hey there, brothers and family. Just want to share with you all that my formative years in kink and BDSM took place in Germany at the tender age of 21, spending some time in a special bar called the Platschbeck in Cologne, Germany, in the Air Force, with a hot man who would eventually become my first leather serve. As I was also coming out as a young gay, it was especially challenging, made even more so when I returned to the U.S., not knowing if I'm going to be able to continue my leather journey the way I initiated it. Not sure if I was going to be able to do that. I actually discovered ONYX when I was on a trip in Omaha, Nebraska, of all places, with a group called ONYX Images, coincidentally enough. Somebody called me up and told me about this group of black leather men who were having a dance party. They were into BDSM and all that other stuff. So I said, okay, when I get back, I'm going to find those boys and I'm going to sign up. And here I am 20-something odd years later. In those early days, as a member of ONYX, we took a lot of road trips through the Midwest, doing all kinds of events with other clubs as we were kind of getting our feet off the ground, letting people know who we are, getting out there and just being seen. And those days were wild. And one thing that you will learn about me if you choose to get to know me is that I have a story for everything. So if you're looking to know where all the bones are buried, we can have a conversation. I was present during the early days of the MAL cocktail party, before it actually evolved into the beautiful gear show event that it is today. Definitely headed by my brother Dominion. So taking us back to those days when we first met. Yeah, I was also present when we first approached IML about having a dance because, you know, we as Chicago black folks weren't hearing house music at some of the parties, and we decided we needed to change that. So it's very important for us to make sure that we had our place at the IML table. So we pushed and we pushed, and they decided to let us have a dance, and it has become the IML dance that we have experienced recently. And we are pushing to try to bring it back to the hotel. So, you know, stay tuned for more information around that. So hopefully we'll be able to do it. Let's keep our fingers crossed. All the while we were making a place for ourselves in the community and we have taken on the challenge of building chapters in other cities. Something that was clearly a vision from the very start, something that I wasn't necessarily aware of, but definitely something that I became involved in as everything took shape for us to grow and become what we are today. So now we are a big leather family that has expanded from coast to coast. 20-something odd years later, we are 9 chapters strong, and let's definitely give ourselves a hand for that, because that is unprecedented. That is something unique in the community that we definitely should be proud of. With all the years of service that I have provided and given to ONYX, I have to say that my proudest moment was Blackout 20, when my brothers chose to honor me with the Legionnaire Spirit Award for service. Again, that's when it was pointed out to me that as a member, you have never taken a break. And it's not something that I ever thought about. It's just felt like, hey, the mission and the work needed to be done. So I stepped up to do it. So to have that recognition meant a lot. And even though we didn't necessarily present the award this year, that's still very special to me. And I definitely want to do the work of carrying that forward to anybody who dedicates themselves to this organization, because it is indeed special. And anybody that chooses to be a part of it becomes a part of what makes us special. As somebody that works behind the scenes, I learned the value of taking the spotlight when called upon, which I've already stated. In the future, I want to see ONYX continue to be a force, not only in the larger leather community, but certainly in the LGBTQIA community as well, because we're out there doing the damn thing, and we need to keep doing it. Letting people know that we're here, letting them know that we're representing. Hey, we've had men that have claimed the crown of IML. We've had IMLs back to back. You know, we've been out there, you know, claiming titles, snatching titles. We continue to do so to this day. And we need to still keep being the force of doing that work, of making sure that we stay visible as people of color. If I were to see one dream of ONYX accomplished, I would love to see the possibility of us becoming international. We've taken trips to Folsom, Europe, and represented. Bolt and I had done a couple of trips over there and came back, and all of a sudden we saw our patch on some foreign rags that were talking about the event, and ONYX was all of a sudden represented overseas. So that's something that's really significant that recognition happened. So if there were one dream that I would like to see happen, I would love to see us become international, so that no matter where we go in the world, not just in the country, but in the world, we can boldly declare, we are ONYX! We are ONYX! We are ONYX! Thank you.
We do understand that the volume, we're competing against the volume of the cars and everything, but the goal was to make sure that you had some South Florida heat in your system before you left our area. So again, bear with us as we bear through these challenges of voice and the noise carrying. The goal is, it is being recorded, so if you missed something from the wonderful Legionnaire, and thank you Legionnaire, it will be posted later on inside of, or somewhere on social media. Somewhere. You know, it might be on my page, it might be on your page, but guess what? If we don't educate the masses of the wonderfulness that is melanin, they won't recognize the power and the strength that's inside of this courtyard.
You'll be on our YouTube page.
As I get, YouTube, baby. As I get ready to get my next presenter ready, it is my pleasure to take a moment to recognize the founders of what it is that we have here today. So the founders, if you don't mind raising your hand, standing up so we can give you your praises. I'm just going to get to the pros, Lady D. I got you. I'm going to get you flowers twice. But to take a phrase from Biggie, it was all a dream. When they came together and said, we're going to make something, and we're going to make it big. And it is our pleasure to show you the dream reality. And it's pleasure to recognize the original Pearls that are in the building.
Yeah.
One of the things that Deep South planned or thought about when putting this together is sometimes we need to highlight those voices that aren't often heard, but are definitely doing the work. So it is my pleasure to bring forward Mademoiselle Cece.
Yeah. Come on through.
Let me also share with you, sometimes when you ask a family member that, hey, this is a family reunion and I need your voice, the family member says, well, you know, I might, sibling, I got you. We got you. So family, as we bring forward Mademoiselle, make sure that Mademoiselle knows we are family and we love you.
Yes.
Thank you. You all know I love to be looked at, but I
Speak into the
hate
mic, baby.
being the thing everybody
Speak into the
has
mic.
to look at.
Speak into the mic. There you go.
So bear with me. I'll be reading off of my phone. Before I start, though, I just wanted to shout out all of our Deep South family because this amazing event is so good. This food is so good. Your work is so obvious. Thank you for putting together this event. When I was asked to speak today to you on behalf of the ONYX Pearls, I thought, what an impossible task. Like our brothers, each chapter of the ONYX Pearls is so unique in its beauty, siblinghood, and journey. But despite all of our differences, there are many things that unite us as the ONYX Pearls. Like our brothers, we share a commitment to education, resilience in the face of adversity, and a dedication to getting down and dirty at every opportunity.
Woo!
Perhaps most important of all, we share a tireless devotion to showing up, being present, and broadening visibility. It is our duty and our honor to stand up and be seen by our BIPOC sisters and non-binary siblings alongside our brothers who are wondering if this community is for them. So so that they too might see themselves woven into the tapestry of leather. In my formative years, leather was missing faces like mine, history like mine, journeys that I could relate to. During my almost 20 years in the community, I've watched the Pearls, alongside our brothers, actively change that. First around this country, and now spilling over into the world at large, because we sure do know how to make noise, and we love snatching them titles. We are working hard to open doors to our new BIPOC community members, and this is in theme with the ONYX Pearls, both as we stand today, and with our namesakes, the original Pearls, when they were given that name and place of honor for their deep support of the men of ONYX back in the 90s as they took their first steps into the world, and continuing strong until today. Today, as we grow into numerous chapters and continue the work that was handed down to us as by the original Pearls, they continue to support us and our brothers, always available to offer advice and a listening ear. So as my brother said, let us never forget to give them their roses while they're still here walking amongst us. Mistress Jill Carter, Mama Vi Johnson, Lady D, Goddess Faustini, Queen Cougar, Mistress Lash, Lady Coco, Stacy Thomas. We hope that we're making you proud. Each of our early chapters had a long and difficult journey. They had to build up from nothing without the support systems that we now have in place for our new chapters. So we all owe them our gratitude, and I would like to take a moment to shout out the founder and charter siblings from our early East Coast chapters for their tireless labor that enables us to stand on their shoulders today. For as many pearls as there are in the world, there will be as many versions of the story of how we came to be. And this is for one simple reason. For each and every one of us, being an ONYX Pearl has dramatically changed our lives. This organization brought us a new kind of home and a new kind of family. As such, it's difficult, damn near impossible, to imagine that when the whole world changed for us, it didn't change for everybody else in that exact same moment. My proudest moment as a Pearl to this day was the moment I crossed my first pledge line into full membership. Because at that moment, they joined us all here, in this family. And like us, every bump on their way made them stronger. And together, that strength makes us strong enough to hold these doors open to this world for the next generation that's coming up behind us. Thank you.
Mademoiselle, love you. Thank you. With every museum, there's a hall of champions. You know, they often don't realize or think that POC folk can't snatch a title, can't win a title, can't run some shit. Excuse me. So at this moment, I'd like to recognize all the title holders that's ever been a title holder inside of the courtyard. Please stand and raise your hand. Thank you. We ain't just winning titles. We've been winning titles. They just wasn't paying attention.
Right.
Claim your space. It's my pleasure now to bring on our next living museum exhibit, Brother Love. Walk that walk. Walk that walk. Walk that walk.
Hello, siblings. Hello. How are you today? Good. Well, I was asked to speak about my journey in the leather community. You know, I was one of those people that grew up Southern Baptist in the South. Thank you, sweetie. I will make that happen. I was one of those people that grew up Southern Baptist, traditional in church every other day. But it was something about the leather community that had always interested me by watching images from people like Tama Finland and just having a curiosity. But it was something that I never really acted on until I found the leather community. My first interaction with ONYX was going to Atlanta, and thank you, Daddy Rod, for your leadership there, to visiting First Fridays during the Black Pride weekends. And it was something I always looked forward to, is going to the Atlanta Eagle in order to see black men just being free and also expressing themselves in every facet of life that you could imagine. It was so liberating to see that. And so it was something I always wanted to be a part of. And lo and behold, I got a flyer or an invite that there was an ONYX chapter coming to Los Angeles. And I thank Chad ONYX and Suede ONYX for establishing a community within a community that gave us all the opportunity to express ourselves. And they created such a welcoming environment that it just made me want to come back to the next event and come back to the next event until I became one of the pledgees of ONYX Southwest. And I was part of the second pledge line that crossed for that chapter. But it was because they created the space to say, hey, I was green to leather. I was green to everything that I see here. But through education and empowerment, they gave me the ability to become free to express myself. You know, they gave me the ability to overcome issues with, you know, oh, I'm a big guy. Will I be welcomed in the community? But then when I look around, you know, I ain't the only one now. So, you know, it was just through that whole process of them building something new, especially in a city that was not welcoming us in those type of spaces. You know, they created something very great. And probably my most amazing moment as an ONYX member is when we were at Voodoo in the Bayou, and we were named Chapter of the Year. And that was just a testament to all of the hard work that these two gentlemen had put into building something positive. And one of the main things that kept me in the organization is that it was built on brotherhood. It was built on leadership. It was built on building up others in order to lead the organization, not to just retain the power within themselves, but really pushing us to move forward and expressing ourselves not only as men of color within an organization, but community leaders. And the amazing work that we did in ONYX within the Los Angeles area, raising money for nonprofit organizations in order to support our, you know, AIDS projects and youth services. My God, that was amazing work that we did there. We raised thousands of dollars by working our bar events and making sure that every dollar that came in was a dollar that went out to support the community. And we took us from being an obscure chapter within the Los Angeles area to being one of the premier chapters that people come to and look to for leadership and guidance. And I thank those gentlemen for creating a space for us. I thank those gentlemen for creating a family for me and a family for all of us. And as a result, I have met so many wonderful people through my leather journey. And in the future, what I would like to see is that model, mixing the leadership, brotherhood, community, all of that coming together and merging into one beautiful body of all of these beautiful people here doing great work in our communities. We are bigger than just our kink and our fetish. We are leaders in this community. And we set the example of how we are supposed to model ourselves for the future. Thank you.
Awesome. Love you, baby.
Thank you, love. We appreciate that. And as we begin to bring our museum visit to a close, we have one more presenter. But I want to remind you that each of you have a story to tell. Each of you are an exhibit in this journey that we call life. So please make sure that you share your journey. make sure that you give the blessing to someone else, because just in case you don't know, we being watched. Someone is in their baby part of their journey and want to know, how do I get in? How do I fit in? Where can I go? And each of you has the opportunity to make a difference, to bring someone in, to make them home, and let them know that they're loved. In the beginning, I spoke about the last time I was in front of this body was when we was being recognized as a chapter. And it is my pleasure to bring on our final exhibit, a brother who stood with me as we were recognized as a chapter. From Lone Star, the other baby of ONYX, Brother Ramses. Ramses, did you know that as babies, we was gonna be running some things? That's what I'm talking about.
So Elimination asked me to talk about our journey in being the youngest chapters at ONYX and what it meant to us. Our chapters were formed together, so there's a special bond, there's a special bond that will always exist between the two chapters. For me, finding ONYX was pretty much a lifesaver. I discovered it probably about 10 years ago. I went to a bar night in Atlanta, and I was actually going to join the Atlanta chapter, and when I found out there was a chapter in formation in Texas, it was suggested that I work with them so that I could help get that show started. I never imagined that I would be president, two-term president, but here we are. You know, it was Walter's vision, and we've helped bring that to fruition. It has been a pleasure. It has also been a pain. You know, sometimes it's like herding cats. Yes. But there is a special bond between me and my brothers. My first vice president and my best friend Leonidas is out there, who always keeps me straight. You know, because I'm a Sagittarius and it can, you know. But it is a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be with you all as we explore the possibility of hosting the next Blackout, to see the journey and what goes into that. It is a lot. So
a whole lot.
It is a whole lot. It is a whole lot. So we'll see how that goes. But it is great to be here with you guys after 3 years of being away and in seclusion. It's wonderful to see all of your faces. It is wonderful to meet the brothers that crossed while we were in the pandemic. We crossed 2 lines ourselves. And it's just been a pleasure. Thank you.
And as we come to a close, again, I would love for us, although they're not here, I would love for us to give, again, a round of applause to the staff that's made sure the food was good, the table service was good. We thank you. And in closing, we have to remember, not only are we living history, but we are a family. So regardless of where you're sitting, turn to someone and say, I love you, family. Go the other direction and say, I love you, family. Gray hairs may come, gray hairs may go. The hair may even go to the south. But when they come for us, we as family will not only knock them down, we give them a kick in the you-know-what. They may like that, but if we do it right, they will never do it again. I also want to remind you that there are classes this afternoon. Please be mindful of that. And if we can take a moment to just recognize those who have already presented and those who are going to present later. We thank you. As you prepare to transition, make sure that you shake a hand of someone that you don't know. Transitioning from the courtyard to upstairs.
I'm about to say, Lord, you better all that.
That's the educated me, I'm sorry. As we move from one space to the next.
There you go.
Shake a hand of someone that you don't know, because at the end of the day, we are family. We should never go into a space and see a patch and not recognize our sibling. Because if we do, we're doing the work that they want us to do, and that's divide. And we will never succeed if we don't recognize and love on. So I thank you for coming to this luncheon, the Living Museum. Bless you. Be well as you motivate and move to the next part of the learning ONYX University. Thank you.
Tough school.